It was just a short 2 seasons ago that the Chicago Bears were a sneaky Super Bowl pick by many. They had a top defense with Khalil Mack, a young and up-and-coming head coach to quarterback duo with Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Nagy. Now things aren't looking so good in the Windy City. They don't have much cap space, and they have a lot of decisions to make. But I have a good idea of what they should do to get back to playoff contention and maybe be a Super Bowl contender in the short future. Hey YouTube, welcome to The Athletic Nerd. My name is Tyler, and today we're going to talk about what the Chicago Bears should do in the 2021 offseason. Now, what I think is more of a likely option, since a lot of teams will probably be trading up or just be interested in quarterbacks, is that they could bring Mitchell Trubisky back on a 1 or 2 year deal for about $10 million a year. Because I don't think he's like the worst quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's the long-term future. But maybe give him another chance because he's still pretty young. Just see what he can do. When it comes to the running backs, I think that they're pretty fine there. Tariq Cohen's coming off a little bit of a down year, but he's still very good. David Montgomery looks like he could be the future of the position for the next few years. And I'm really excited for him. He has shown a lot of glimpses, but there's a lot to be determined. Cordell Patterson has been a very good contributor, especially on third down in the return game. Wide receiver, they do have a few things coming up here. Allen Robinson looks like he's not coming back. There have been many reports that were saying that they're far away when it comes to a contract extension, and he's likely not even to be franchise tagged. So what I think that they could do is try to franchise tag him if they can, and then trade him to a contender like Baltimore in exchange for like a second or third round pick. But there's a good chance that even that doesn't happen. He walks away for nothing. But that's what I would do personally as a GM. They do actually have a few other young promising wide receivers. Anthony Miller has been solid so far. The rookie named Darnell Mooney, he was drafted in the mid rounds. He had a very good rookie season. He's a talented route runner, and he has decent hands. Especially given the terrible quarterback play, he would have had an even better season. So he's very good. At the tight end position, it seems likely that they'll keep Jimmy Graham. But since he had a very good season, especially in the red zone, he's a very good threat there. But I personally might move on from him because they have Cole Kmet, who was highly regarded tight end in last year's draft class, and also just because he does carry a decent cap hit. So if they could move on from him, given their terrible cap situation, might be a good move. On the offensive line, they're middle of the pack, but they do have some good players there. They have Cody Whitehair, Charles Leno Jr., and James Daniel. The other two spots could be improved a good deal. Nobody notable there, but they do have a very good start. On the defensive side of the ball, starting with the defensive line, this actually surprised me, to be honest, that they do have a lot of work that they could do here. The main person that I see that could be the future of this team is Bilal Nichols. I'm pretty sure he's a nose tackle. So he doesn't have the greatest production on paper, but he does have a very good impact, and he's also very young. Akeem Hicks is still very good, but he is getting up there in age and does also carry a large cap hit. So if they couldn't move on from his contract, that might be something to do this offseason, especially if they could get as high as like a third-round pick. In the linebacker position, they do have Roquan Smith, who has actually lived up to his draft pick pretty early on in his career. And he is one of the better young middle inside linebackers in the NFL. But they also have Danny Trevathan, who isn't too bad, but he does also carry a decent cap hit, and he is getting up there in age. So that might be a position to look at where they get some young depth there. When it comes to outside linebacker, because the Bears do play in a 3-4, yes, I did not forget him, for anybody that may have been thinking and ready to type in the comment section, of Khalil Mack. He's still arguably the best edge rusher in the NFL. I understand Myles Garrett, I understand TJ Watt, but Khalil Mack is still a whole different animal. On the other edge, they do have Robert Quinn, who is a North Carolina product. Go Heels. And he's not terrible as a player, but he was pretty banged up. He was pretty injured, and he does seem like he's overpaid. But the issue there is that he does have guaranteed money early in his contract, so they won't be able to move on from him, likely for at least the next 2 years, so he's stuck there. In the secondary, they do have a young duo, and Kyle Fuller and rookie Jalen Johnson. They don't have much depth behind them, so that is something to look at. I would probably bring back Artie Burns. He was a first-round pick who used to play for the Steelers. He did miss the whole season with injury, but wouldn't be too bad given their depth, and he does still have some potential. When you look at the safety position, it does look like they missed Adrian Amos after he headed to Green Bay. And Eddie Jackson, admittedly, did have a little bit of a down year, but he's still one of the better safeties in the NFL. I would look for a cheap option to fill the other spot at safety, or even to get another corner. So they could look at a guy like Trayvon Moehrig, who has also played corner but also plays safety. He's a little bit undersized but could definitely fill that role. So just as a recap, this was a shorter video. I may breeze through a few things, but the main thing for the Bears is I don't see them being able to contend in the immediate future because they do have some older guys. Their offense is not going to be able to keep up no matter how good their defense has been. But they should give Trubisky another chance, but probably in a deal where it's more money up front and they can get off his contract easily next year. But I would still see a 2-year deal not being too far off. They could trade some of their better players like Allen Robinson and Akeem Hicks for some decent draft capital and help with their salary cap situation. They could look to add some offensive linemen and another wide receiver in the draft if Allen Robinson is on his way out. They should hope Robert Quinn can recover and be able to live up to that contract. They could also look for another DB. They should look for Danny Trevathan's replacement in the near future. And hopefully, and just maybe, the Bears will be able to contend with the Green Bay Packers in the near future. And maybe scare Aaron Rodgers
making contact and then just stripping and tugging at the football.
Hope you enjoyed the video.
Getting great help.
And have a great day. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any video ideas or any ideas that you have about this video or any other topics, please let me know in the comments.